I gave you my heart. I gave you my heart.
Good evening, welcome back to my channel. So today's topic is all about the last eunuch of China. Are you familiar with the eunuch? What is a eunuch? And who is the last eunuch of China? So basically, a eunuch would mean to undergo castration. In China, if you would want to become a eunuch, castration would be the removal of the penis as well as the testicles. Aray. So, why should it be removed? If one male would want to become a slave in the imperial palace of the Emperor of China, this is one of the requirements. So these emasculated men serve as a palace menials, sometimes spies, and harem watchdogs, and primarily to safeguard the imperial lady's chastity. Okay. In China's palace, the emperor has lots of concubines and wives, and they really would want to secure these women away from the other male, especially male servants inside the palace. Okay. So Sun Yanting was the last eunuch. He was castrated, then the emperor abdicated the throne. He made it to the Forbidden City. Then Puyi was evicted. Ang sakit. He followed him north, and then the puppet regime collapsed. And according to the writer of the story of Sun Yaoting, Jia, he said he felt that life had played a joke at his expense. Pwede natin sabihin yun, di ba? So, why did he become a eunuch, by the way? Yaoting was forced by his father to be one simply because of poverty. The family is always being harassed by the neighbors, especially if the issue is about land. Okay, so the family thought that if only one member of the family could become a eunuch, then some favors from the palace would be given to them and might improve the quality of life they had. Okay, so you know how he was castrated? It was only his father who did the removal of his genitals without anesthesia. He was very young then. Okay, he doesn't want it, but he didn't have any power to said no, and because he was also thinking about the future of the family. So after the castration, he was unconscious for 3 days and could barely move for 2 months. Okay. So when he finally rose from his bed, he discovered that the emperor abdicated several weeks earlier. Ang sakit. Maybe you might want to ask, sila-silang lang ba yung gumagawa ng castration pag gusto nila? Of course not. Okay? So there's parang a small clinic. Okay? Normal castration in the ancient China was done in a small hut near the Forbidden City. Okay? So the Forbidden City is the imperial palace of the emperor. So they would let the male lay down on the bed, then three person would hold him. One would hold firmly the legs after separating it, and the two would hold him round the waist and will pin him down to the max. Okay. Is there an anesthesia given? Actually, the local anesthesia they had in the past was a hot chili sauce. O parang pwede na tayong humingi sa mga restaurant na hot chili sauce, please. Okay. And another thing is that the genitals will be disinfected by washing it 3 times with hot pepper water. O, diba? Di naaanghangan yun. So, once it is clean already, so the three would really pin down the legs and the waist, and then meron dyan ditong nilagay na parang inikutan ng tela, okay, both sa legs saka dun sa bewang, to at least limit the blood after cutting or severing the genitals. Okay, so that is how they do it. And then after the removing of the genitals, they will put it in a special container, and then they will lift up the man and will have to walk around several times until he will be lying down. He will be let to lie down. And may namamatay ba? Around 2% daw, according to the research, would die, especially if after several days and that straw will be removed from the remaining part of the genitals. Kasi bakit nila sinusuotan ng straw? Para hindi masarahan yung butas sa pag-ihi. So, after several days and you were able to urinate, then pasado ka. But if you cannot urinate, intayin mo na lang yung death. Walang magagawa. And that is very painful. So, for the love of what? For the love of security for the family, maybe that's why they did that. And maybe because some of the eunuchs accordingly, instead of being punished, they were asked to be part of the eunuch of the imperial palace. So of course, yun na yung pipiliin nila. So going back to Sun Yaoting, only 2 memories brought tears to his eyes. One is when the day when his father cut the genitals, and 2, when the family threw away the pickled remains. Yun. Pinickled yun. Parang, anong tawag dito? Parang pickled. Nilagay sa bottle to preserve. Kasi, you know why he cried? Because the family threw away it. According to the Chinese belief, if you die with an incomplete part of the body, then you will not be accepted to where you belong. Okay? So, that's very sad kasi wala na nga nangyari sa pagiging eunuch niya, tapos hindi pa siya makompleto. So, if there's still the pickled remains of his genitals, then when sabi niya, he will be complete once he died. But he died in 1996 without having it. So what a sad life for Sun Yaoting. But one thing, somehow, was good about him still being the last eunuch, he outlived most of the eunuchs who served the imperial palace for the longest time. So if you ask why he outlived it, maybe because he has to tell the story. Not only his story, which is really a tragic one, but the story of the lives of the eunuchs inside the imperial palace. So if you want to know more about eunuchs, you can ask me questions after. Meron akong isang tanong na nabasa. Do eunuchs fall in love? Yes naman. Bakit hindi? Ang tinanggal naman sa kanila hindi puso, kundi yung genitals nila. But then, what would be the difference about a eunuch falling in love with a normal man falling in love? Napakalaki ng difference. One, yung pinaka wala nang desire. Okay? Wala nang desire. Kasi, at kung magkakaroon ka ng desire, paano? Pero wala nang desire talaga actually. Tinanggal na. Okay? At sinasabi rin nila na kapag bata ka pa at you were castrated when you were still very young, habang lumalaki ka, yung boses mo nagiging parang boses babae. At saka, tumataba, pero yung pagkataba mo is something like soft, okay, nababago talaga because wala nang nagpuproduce nung testosterone ba yun? Okay, ng panglalaki. So, another tanong, may mga eunuchs pa ba hanggang ngayon? Well, dun sa series na, ano yun? Yung isang series about the throne, may mga emasculated warriors, diba? Okay, pero sinasabi nilang some male in North America decided to become a eunuch or emasculated because of health reasons. Okay, marami. Pero emasculated or eunuch dahil castrated sila, not because they will serve as slaves or spies or something to some emperor, but because of health reasons. So parang kinonek lang natin yung removal of the genitals to eunuch because it was actually eunuchs of China who started it. Alright? But then, some other eunuchs would not remove the entire genitals, only the testicles. But in China, everything has to be removed. Okay? So that would be for tonight, guys. I hope you enjoy my konting kwento. So really, these things really got my interest. And by the way, this book of Steve Berry, the Emperor's Tomb, also discussed about eunuchs in China as well as how eunuchs were operated on, okay, or yung process of the removing of the genitals. So it's a very interesting book. I love it so much, and my favorite author is Steve Berry. Now, I am now reading this another book of him, The Malta Exchange. Okay, so I hope some of you would really read novels to be more learned and to be somehow, it's one way of distressing as well. Okay, so yeah, kasi very recently I really had a lot of stress, and that's it. Don't want to talk about it. Good night, everyone, and be healthy and be safe. Bye bye until my next vlog.